How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Undebatable Relatables podcast, and I'm your host for today, Josiah Walker, and we've got
Jocelyne Liu
and
Anna Wynn.
Woohoo! Welcome to our second episode called Relationships. Romantic? Nah. Friendships, platonic relationships, social support systems. Always great, and it always is helpful. So, since, Valentine's Day is coming up soon, you were thinking about having this episode talk about relationships in general, since it's important to know
all kinds of them,
more than just love. Well, there's multiple types of love, and it's also important to know how to deal with them and how they can help you. So,
or take you
obviously,
down.
Let's not talk about that. Moving on. It's okay.
I meant, avoiding bad ones, okay?
Yes, I get that.
Okay.
Yes. So, obviously, romantic love is the most famous, most known. And don't get me wrong, that's perfectly good. And it's nice to have that kind of relationships. Yes. But the ones that we are more experienced in is friendships and, platonic relationships. So, how are friendships and just social relationships helpful to those around us and to ourselves? Let me hand off the baton to somebody. Go ahead.
I'll start the baton, metaphorical one, of course. When it comes to relationships, platonically, of course, it dribbles down to your type of preference in friends and what kind of friends you want and are looking for. Many different people have all types of criteria for what kind of friends they want and what friends they don't want, and I'm saying that is fine as well, and I respect that. My opinion on this topic is to keep your options open. Obviously, you don't want to be friends with people who are disrespectful, mean, in any type of way, other slurs or things you want. I don't think I can say on the podcast, but stay away from those people. And if you can't stay away from them directly, don't associate with them, or at least don't become friends with them. If they try to interact with you and socialize with you, and you can't really get away, then I say, my opinion personally, is not necessarily be friends with them. Just acknowledge their existence, because that's all they're looking for. Ignoring them directly is going to make them come on stronger, is what I feel. But more on the positive side, with your more common friends, it's great that they're there to support you and talk to you, and you should keep in touch with them. Make sure you acknowledge them and you tell them you appreciate them at least some point throughout the relationship. But you should be careful.
They only
when
appreciate them
down
once.
You know what I mean? As in,
yes.
And gradually just always be there for them and talk to them, things like that. But always remember that you yourself should be the one you care about the most. Sounds selfish, I know, but put it into context. For me, personally, in middle school, I was kind of the yes man. I couldn't say no to any of my friends, and despite many things happening that I didn't want to, I didn't say no because I felt like I'd have been mean and lost my friendship. So I always said yes to whether it be small things like, hey, can I have some of your Oreos? Despite me really wanting Oreos that day, I gave them some of my Oreos, and it didn't really matter how many they asked for. I still gave them the Oreos. If they wanted all of them, I was like, oh, sure. I just couldn't say no. I didn't want to say no, and I felt like I'd lose friends if I said no. And it goes to the scale of homework, and I couldn't really say no. I tried to finagle around it, but my no never came out of my mouth. Now, that was a huge detriment, I realized, for me now. Looking back from high school, I realized that I should have said no more often. It's pretty obvious realization. But it's more than just the fact that you should say no. You should also tell them back, hey, if you're going to keep doing this, then don't do it to me or anybody else, because A, it's very annoying and it's not cool. And B, if you keep asking them for help when it comes to, or not help when it comes to homework, that's fine. But copying their homework, you need to tell them, stop doing this. I can help you by not giving my homework. I can help you by learning how to do this thing. And then at that point onward, they teach themselves. It's like that famous saying that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Huh?
You have to remember that it's like the fish and the guy is like teaching the guy to fish.
Oh yeah. Give a man fish. Give a man fish, you satisfy his hunger for one day, but teach a man how to fish, you satisfy him for the rest of his life. Something like that.
He'll never go hungry again.
Yes.
Like that. That's what it kind of boils down to when it comes to those kinds of friendships and being the yes man of sorts. But on to high school relationships. I walked into high school with no friends that I knew of from previous school, because they all had went to St. Petersburg High School, St. Pete IB, and I had not, for reasons I will break down another episode. But basically, went there first day, didn't really know anybody, had to go on the bus for the first time. Met a cool guy, and we're friends this day, so that was pretty simple and effective. When it comes to making initial friends like that on the bus, for the bus homies out there, it's really easy to sit down on your bench and just go on your phone and just boom, ignore for the whole trip. And thanks to social interaction and the world we're in today, it's very common for things like that to happen. Just go on your phone and not interact at all. So my advice to anyone who's trying to reach out to a friend on the bus, make friends on the bus is sort of simple. It's just when you're sitting down with them for the first time, it only takes a small interaction of sorts or anything of the type like that. It's just interact with them on a small thing. So example, talking about the weather out loud, or asking them how you think the weather is today, or asking them how their day went after school as well. Are small things that build up. And once you guys find common ground, it skyrockets from there. Happened to me a lot throughout high school. In the first couple of weeks, I start talking to people, some small things. We hit a topic of commonplace, and from that point, shut it off. And now those people are my friends. I talk to them when I can. We talk as well in school as well, and on Snapchat as well. So it's a pretty commonplace to talk to your friends, and it's super awesome. I'm really glad I met them. And it is genuinely hard from going middle school to high school with knowing no one from your previous school. Thankfully, I was blessed with the ability to communicate well and be able to socialize pretty strongly. I agree. I think the consensus is on my ability to socialize and speak and have that confidence in my voice. And so thanks to that, I was able to make friends, and over the course of the year, able to establish connections that I'm really glad I did. People that I can be my real self with, I feel I can talk to certain things with, and it's really amazing. Now, on the topic of being on the more reserved side, I don't think I can take that on as seriously. I think the other two podcast members can tackle that better than me, hopefully, maybe.
Being able to...
No, as in like more reserved type of reports. As in like, compared to me, obviously, it comes to making friends or just walking up to someone and being like, "Nice shirt," and then initiating a conversation, things like that. Like being more not timid or shy necessarily, but like more reserved in your personality when it comes to that. I
feel like I honestly kind of agree with you in that stance. Like, relationships. Well, first of all, let us congratulate Josiah here with our complete freshman friendship expert with how to deal with people. But yeah, making friends.
What do you mean by that?
I'm congratulating you, man. Good job making a lot of friends. Good for you.
Oh, now it seems like I'm a douchebag for like just making.
No, you're not. Wow. No. I actually meant complimenting your friendship expert. Being able to know how to, make friends and being able how to socialize is really important. In which I'm completely with. In all honesty, sorry if that sounded sarcastic. I did not mean to be. But making friends is very important, and having that kind of social life is actually really important. Because as much as people don't think it is, I feel like a lot of us have learned over quarantine. Maybe a bunch of people haven't. Like, I understand people who actually was like, "Oh, quarantine was the best." I can kind of agree, but I don't know. Like, I'm still considered an extrovert. I'm just a very introverted extrovert, if that makes sense. And so I don't need a social life. At least I didn't think I did. I didn't think I needed to talk to people, and I was fine during quarantine because I was like, oh, I don't normally talk to people anyways. But no matter how much you think you don't know, or how much you think you don't need that kind of social interaction, sometimes you do. And sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do. Like, near the end of quarantine,
it's there.
I was like...
It's necessary.
It's that need to be able to talk with other people, to get your feelings out, to get your ideas out. You need to have that kind of communication. And that's why it's very important. Like, I feel like after quarantine, I just completely lost the ability to be able to socialize with people. I was like, oh, how talk? Me no talk. I did not know how. And I was just stressing out completely about it. But now, I'm still kind of in that mode, actually, but it's okay. I'm getting a little bit better. It's important to have those kind of support systems of friends, being able to open up to people. And it's really hard to open up to people. And I can say that from experience. It's scary. It's terrifying because, some people, not some, it should be, normal, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's okay to cry. And that is true. It is okay to cry. But no matter how much you think or how much you tell yourself that it is, you still have that deep feeling in your heart or in your brain where society is telling you crying means weakness. And sometimes it's because of influences from your family, from your friends, and it stays with you, unfortunately. But even if it feels hard to, you have to understand it is essential. Like, I always feel every single time I cry, not a lot, but whenever I do cry, like I cried for my friend once, and I always felt so embarrassed by it. But just because of how much my friend told me that it was okay and how much my friend supported me based off of that, it helps, and it made me feel so much more better. Which is why having this kind of relationship with other people is so important, because they're the people who are there for you when you feel like no one else is. And always have that friend that you can trust the most. It's always good to have that kind of friend, because it's good to have a lot of friends, but sometimes it's best to have, even if you only have a couple friends, it's best to have at least that one friend who you trust with more than just your secrets, with more than just all of that. Someone you can trust with just the stupidest thoughts. Someone that you could, feel comfortable with. And it's always best to have that kind of thing, to have someone you could talk with, you can get your feelings out, and you feel like you can't normally would have been able to. And having that's always good. And also, it is also important to know a lot of people. Here's a little thing about it. Obviously, having one friend, good, as long as you trust them. But also, it's also important to know that sometimes having a lot of friends isn't always so good, because it's not good to have super shallow friendships. Like, I understand acquaintances, that's fine. But having a bunch of friends that are just people you feel obligated to smile at, you feel obligated to spend time with, that's not healthy. And never ever feel like you are forced to do that, because that's not good. But it's also important to just know a lot of people, though. Like, you don't have to be complete friends with them, but always try at least to introduce yourself to people. I understand if you don't feel comfortable with doing so, but it's always good. Like, hey, my name's Jocelyne. I'm your classmate. It's nice to meet you, and we can be friends. Like, I was genuinely surprised by how actually only 2, but how that was a big number for me, because for me, my high school, 75% of my middle school just went plop straight down into my high school. So majority of my high school is just everyone that I knew from my middle school, which isn't great for making new relationships. But for the few people that didn't come from my middle school, I was so surprised, because I made 2 new friends. And that may not seem like a lot. 2 was a big number for me, because I made 2 new friends just by talking with them, just by relating with somebody. And especially after quarantine, I felt so uncomfortable talking to anybody. Just that fact alone, it made me feel so much more confident, and it made me feel so much more happier. And your happiness is very important. So there's that comment on friendships. What about you, Anna? What's your experiences when it comes to social relationships?
They're so passionate about this. I love it. Like, humans are social people, right? Well, do they say, like, humans are social animals? Whatever
social creatures
is, whatever the phrase is.
We are social cryptids.
Like, you can't isolate yourself forever. I've tried to do that. It has not ended well. But, like, humans are social. Like, no matter what, you're gonna have to talk to people at some point in your life. You can't just, like, not talk to anyone, And I remember, like, the first week of school, not first week of school, IB Success Camp. I made eye contact with someone, and we instantly became friends, because we're like, this teacher is very interesting. But, like, do it with our eyes,
We're like, oh.
So, like, eye contact, I made my first friend. And then the first week of school went by, and we're like, oh, what's your schedule? And what's your schedule? And then, we figured out we had, like, 5 classes together and became friends. Like, it's not hard. I understand how it can be hard for some people, but, like, having friends is also that support system, as we've said. And, like, they are just, most of the time, friends are your own age, so like they can relate to you, and most of the time they have like similar classes, so you can like
Most definitely.
talk, complain about classes, talk about what you like
Rant.
about the class,
Mhm.
and just like stress out together or cry together or like laugh together. Like memories can also happen with friendships, and like that's what keeps me going sometimes, like remembering memories and be like, that can happen again, you know, like homecoming, like that was amazing.
That was so sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my hot take on it.
That's a good hot take. It was the hottest take. No, I'm joking. But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You were gonna say something? Go ahead.
They're all warm takes. Very nice.
Lukewarm takes, I guess. Lukewarm. Room temperature takes. Anyway, no. But
Room
yes.
temperature takes.
Room temperature takes. I feel like, yeah, like, as we said before, the support system's always good. And if I also may, it's important to have fun. This is another thing when it comes to friends. Sometimes a lot of people, they will only focus on academics. Cough, cough, cough. Some people that I know. Some people will only focus on academics, and they won't spend a lot of time with people that they like, that, you know, they want to spend time with. They don't like, you know,
like
hang
don't
out.
focus on academics too much. Sorry to interrupt, but like my friend literally left her phone dead because she's like, I need my phone dead for a day.
Yeah, because it's
So-
always good to have, yeah. And I feel like often, you know, obviously trying not to, you know, just party every day and not focus on your academics. That's not good. But
Balance it
also-
out.
exactly. Balancing is very important. Knowing the perfect balance between, you know, your social life and being able to be doing good in school. Because if you just focus only on your academics, I'd like to mention that obviously friendships are not for benefit. I mean, they are, don't get me wrong, but like,
Yeah.
they shouldn't only be for like, you know, personal benefit. Like, oh, if I become friends with the person, I'll become popular and then I can ditch them. Please, 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 please do not think that way. That is not good. It's not healthy.
It's a gross, disgusting, and makes you not a cool human being.
Yeah, because you don't want to treat friends like that. Don't ever do that. But it's good to know a lot of people, because here's a personal benefit of the friendship that true friendships can actually help you with. For example, if you want to know a lot, if you do know a lot of people, that can really help with just, I don't know, like a lot of things. Like, for example, elections in schools, right? Or for example, you know, if you're having something more smaller scale, like if you're stuck on a problem, on a homework problem, you're like, crap, I don't know what to do. And let's say you have really shallow friendships. And then over here, you have like a couple people's phone numbers, but you're like, oh, I feel too awkward to ask them for some help because they're going to think I'm cheating. But imagine you have that one friend you can trust. You're like, hey, can you like help me out on this homework problem? And they'll be like, I got you, you know? It's always good to have that because it's important to feel comfortable. And it's important to enjoy your high school years, because enjoying does not mean pushing yourself to the absolute limit until you crack. It's just so then you could like, just so you could like, you know, feel like you can succeed. Like, there's more ways to push yourself to your limits without cracking. There's ways to push yourself farther than you think you could than just cracking, because you just need to know the balance. Like, I don't know.
I have a nice quote for the situation.
Yes, go ahead.
Quote, well, it is always best to believe in oneself. A little help from others can be a great blessing. This quote just kind of speaks to me as in, yeah, you should always make sure you believe in yourself, and you may have got to believe in yourself if you're going to do a lot of things in life. It's most important to believe in yourself first, then other people, but always remember that you always have a person out there that believes in you too, and them helping you can just honestly make your life just a little better, or help you through that one assignment, or help you through that one tragedy in your life. Taking that help is not a coward's way out. It's not dishonorable, and it's not disrespectful. It's something people should be doing all the time. It's something you should always be taking help when you need it. Now, don't abuse this help, obviously, because at that point it becomes toxic and dangerous, and you have the potential of losing that friendship. But as long as you take that help and use it to the best of your ability, and use it to the best effect it can be, you'll get the most benefit out of it.
Yes. So that's a very good point. Does anybody have any last remarks? on the subject or anything?
Unfortunately, I apologize because we could not cover romantic relationships because we are not.
Yes.
We're freshmen, guys.
We don't even, yeah, but we do know this. Don't ever force yourself to do something that you do not want to do. Never ever. I understand if you're pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, but never ever ever feel forced to do something because other people want you to do it. Never do that. And that is a very important lesson to do, or have, or know, whatever. Please don't. It'll never turn out well, and you're just gonna hurt yourself. So please be aware of that. But yes, so to close out, I know that Josiah already gave an incredible quote. I'm sorry, but I also do want to say another quote if I might.
You're gonna counter my clothes counter, huh? Right.
No, I'm not quote. No, I'm not. I'm actually adding on to it. Okay, so.
Okay.
Anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you, by Misty Copeland. So, thank you guys so much for listening to our second episode. Relationships? Romantic. Nah. Friendships. We always love those because we have no experience in relationships for romantic stuff. Anyways, so thank you guys so much.
It's not a bad thing, guys. Not a bad
It's not a bad thing. Trust us, it's not a bad thing. It's okay. We don't talk about it.
Despite what high school yells at you on a daily basis, everyone being so... you don't worry about it, guys. You don't need a romantic relationship to make yourself validated in high school. Don't ever think like that. It's a toxic mindset, and it's something that it's one of the things that high school has drained into our skulls. Thankfully, we are pretty good at adapting to it. So we have learned, we're smart enough. We're kids that can adapt and learn that we know that, hey, you don't need it. It's all good. So thanks for that. Make sure you guys keep track of that in your head and keep in mind, you don't need it to be successful. You don't need to validate yourself. You don't need to be cool. All right? Take your time. It'll come to you. And maybe even put yourself out there a bit, you know. It'll lead to good things. That's what I'll say.
Yes, that's a very good point. So, yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. Really appreciate it. And you will see our next episode soon. Probably in March.
March.
Wait,
yes, one more thing.
March.
Wait, one more big 5-paragraph fact.
You have
one
paragraph.
Great day, everyone. Have a great day, night, afternoon, evening, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 6 o'clock in the morning, wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching this, whichever dimension you're watching it in. Have a great day or night.
Yes, I agree. So thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you soon. Later on the Undebatable Relatables. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye. Sayonara.